Just a forewarning, this might not go well, okay? But we're going to try. 3, 2.
There you go. What do you think of that one, guys? Hi friends, PC and Dylan here from Gravity and Oxygen Fitness, giving you guys another incredible edition of
Turf Talk Tuesday, T3.
T3. And today's subject is a really profound one. To teach is to learn. What are your thoughts?
Simple, it's profound, it's valid, makes sense, and it applies to kind of everything we do.
I love wisdom quotes that get more effect done with less words, and this is one of them. So one of our core values at Gravity and Oxygen is the continual thirst for knowledge. Okay, and we have full confidence that everyone we meet, whether it be colleagues or other members, or any human you meet in the street, knows something that you don't. And that was a term brought by one of our colleagues, Matt Williams, and I thought that was equally profound as well.
Yeah, agreed.
And we should approach life like that, that everyone we meet knows something that we don't. So with that, we completely encourage outside colleagues to come into the Go House to possibly teach us things that we can only convey and then teach our own membership and clients as well.
Pay it forward is how I put it. Right?
Well said. And what we love is that anything that we learn, we then figure out through our filter how it applies to our principles of exercise science at Gravity and Oxygen, and then we convey it and package it in really cool programming.
And in the meantime, while you continue to share it with others, you're fine-tuning your ability to learn it and understand it, right?
Absolutely. Exactly. So by us doing repetition of learning these new techniques and moves, we're actually better able and better equipped to teach to our membership, like you just said. So what we'd like to do is talk to you about some pieces of equipment that we really have enjoyed lately. Some things are traditional and old school. Some things are brand new, and we've completely become addicted to using them, not only ourselves, but then conveying them to our membership as well. So why don't we work in reverse? Let's work on something that maybe we just learned yesterday through our wonderful colleague, AJ Landano. What do you think, bud?
Yeah, Elevate, AJ, Georgie. I mean, they're always bringing new stuff to the table, so
we love it.
It's cool, and I'm excited for the event we got coming up, which will be pretty far out, but this is some of the stuff that they might see. So
they have a fantastic knack for connecting that mind-body to movement in a very effective and non-intrusive way, and we're going to show you some of those moves as well. So right now, I'll take the rope from you, and you can show me some fun with the stability ball, buddy.
All right. So this was one that I hadn't thought before, but it's pretty interesting. I mean, he had started with a couple different things. One was very simple, just using it as almost like a rebound,
right?
And being able to like let your body feel comfortable with letting go.
Mm-hmm.
But then he did one where it's let's bring it full 360, and this kind of goes to like animal flow. So I really like this one. The goal here is to not use your hands, right? And you're gonna try to get all the way over. Good. Then you rotate to the chest. Good. And then you can kick through again to the back. And now you try to rotate.
Straddle through.
And straddle all the way back to that starting point.
So the whole time Dylan is here working without use of his hands, only using the feet to provide that drive, and he's playing. What he's doing is exploring. So Georgie and AJ have been teaching us the E in their Elevate is to explore. So take a traditional piece of equipment and then find out what you can do with it. And if you notice, Dylan is experiencing the need for core stability. He's doing rotational training, hip stability.
Hip mobility as
right.
well.
And using as little contact surface with the ground as possible. And it's okay if you collapse and you error and you fail.
Oh, absolutely.
Because in the failure, you're also educating yourself.
Oh, I did. How many times did I fall yesterday, right?
Absolutely. Right. But that's part of the fun is playing and really exploring. So some of these principles take home is the fact that we're working on transverse motion of the human body, working on both core and hip stability, and we love it because it fits in naturally with what we do here at the Go House.
And one that we showed them yesterday, or maybe beforehand, was the simple log roll, which we love, right?
Of course.
Something as simple as being able to keep your feet stacked and now turn the hips side to side.
Absolutely. So for us, this has been a staple exercise in our facility for a long time. But the neat thing is, as Dylan and I talked about before we recorded this, is that the things that we're learning new, we also showed these to our colleagues, and they were like, whoa, I never thought of that. Things such as the inner thigh wishbone, body rolling on it. Exactly. Show the wishbone. So maybe Bettina can come over here. So now what Dylan is doing a simple knee separation, one leg on the ball, one leg off, and by slowly controlling his drop towards earth, he's eccentrically or negatively working on his inner thighs. So this is going to require core stability and the need for work within the hip in a lateral plane of motion. Another great exercise. So if we're all cumulatively teaching each other, we're all learning and elevating because the rising tide raises all ships.
Can I show him my fun one that I learned yesterday?
Yeah, so we even got really far out. So how far can you explore? And Dylan's going to show you the outer reaches of that.
All right. Just a forewarning, this might not go well, okay? But we're going to try. 3, 2.
There you go. What do you think of that one, guys? And on that segue, as the ball leaves us, that's perfect. But he basically did a backflip using the pressure of the ball to create that motion. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So as he pushes into the ball gives him force back, and to be able to successfully do that backflip. Yeah. Also, cool.
It took me a lot of trial and error yesterday to get that one down. It's not easy to just let your body go, and that alone is kind of what we'll talk about next with the rope, is that our mind often gets in the way of what we're trying to accomplish.
Correct.
And often we overthink its simple movement patterns that allow us to continue to explore, continues to build strength in different positions and just build confidence in our body and our physical ability. So
correct. Everything we do inside the walls of our gym is meant to be applied outside practically and functionally. So doing these little play explorative things really is the theme of that. So Dylan brought up an important word, think. So this is called the rope method, and so now we're working from just yesterday what we learned into the past 4 or 5 months. So we've been learning the rope method for the past few months, and this is very much brain-based training. It requires you to think. So whereas people also think too hard, they're also thinking the same patterns too often, and they're not letting their mind become more fluid because they're so crystallized in their thought process. So this is asking you to get outside of your mind and be abstract. So we call this RMT training, rotational movement training, using a simple rope. Now, of course, we can do jump rope, all right? This is a little short rope, so I won't be jump roping, but you could take a jump rope, but if you notice, the fabric and thread applies a little bit of weight to it. So as we have the end loops, we also have the middle place, which is where the energy is going to go in regards to doing this rope method. So when we teach people, we teach them in very simple patterns first. If I'm looking north, right now all I'm doing is a simple counterclockwise circle, giving that vector north. If any of you have watched the Doctor Strange movie, in the movie, the main actor is doing like a vortex to go through a time warp, a time loop, right? So we try to give people the lamest explanation of, give us that little time vortex as if I was stepping through that. So we slow it down, and then we try the opposite direction. Now, a lot of people, when they first do this, they begin to cross their arms, and now the mind is already in flux. So we teach them, let the hands move interdependently. What does interdependently mean? They're performing the same action, they're not connected together, but they're still holding the same object, so they're working interdependently.
And with that, you're training different parts of your brain to work cohesively together, which is why this is a great way to train neurologically how your mind and your body can work together to create something in physical space.
Correct. If we have 2 hemispheres of the brain, left and right, it's important that whatever move we learn with the rope, that we should be able to master it both sides of the body or both directions. So now as I have this circle still going, I'm now looking at you guys in the camera. Now the rope is still spinning, but it's on the left side of my body. So I'm looking east towards you guys, the rope is still facing north. Then I return north, and then I go the other way. Now I'm in reverse spin, okay? I come back to north, I look at you guys, and now I'm gonna create a figure 8 pattern, okay? So now we're gonna begin some of that twisting effect, and that's that R, the rotational movement training, by doing this, okay? So figure 8 pattern, I'm creating twist. If I want to spin my feet, I get more motion. And then the moves can get more complex, where we can say, give us a full circle before you cross over. Full circle, cross over. Now if you notice, now the brain is stimulated a little bit more because the movement is a lot more complex than just a simple circle on one side of my body, okay?
And with that being said, the ability to move the body around the rope also creates a different portion of the brain that has to turn on, and your body has to get comfortable with that, which is not done enough. More often than not, and normal fitness, you are moving some external piece with your body instead of moving your body around that external piece.
Correct. So the movements get more complex. So beyond just doing circles and figure eights, we can do things called drag and roll. So now I'm going to drag from left to right, drag and roll. See that? And then come back. So I'm going to drag and roll. So because of these patterns are more complex, the brain is working a little harder to understand how to do these movements here. All right. Now, for me to be able to master any move, should be able to champion both sides of your body. So the drag and roll the opposite way would look just like this. Okay? So before I can graduate from kindergarten and go on to elementary school and middle school with these methods, I should be able to master both moves. And then you can begin to now do moves where you're simply taking away a step and now you're simplifying and cutting corners. So this will be a simplified drag and roll cue. All right? We'll let Dylan take a little display of this as well. There you go, sir. I got to give you some of the juice. There you go, bud.
So he said talk about more complex movements, right? So now what you were seeing before as he did a drag and roll, right, is something that we just need to practice more in general because we find ourselves day to day very hunched over in most of our activities, whether we're driving, working on a computer, texting on a phone, does not matter. Even when you're eating, right, you're hunched over. So now my ability to open my arms, explore some wider range of motion in my shoulders, that alone can be beneficial and helpful. And getting someone who may not have that proper mobility to conquer a move like this is so exciting for them, right? From a new member perspective.
Completely agree. So there's no doubt the common theme when people first are learning the rope method through us is that their shoulders are burning. Well, that's because the shoulder joint has not experienced this kind of range of motion and the frequency of this movement. So with that, the muscles around the shoulder blade are fatiguing. The beautiful thing is, after weeks of doing this, there's no more mention or complaint of a burning symptom. And that means now the shoulder has been accommodated to the movements that we're now exposing the brain to. And that is a sign of improvement. RMT training definitely, once again, works on the transverse aspect of the human body and joint mobility, fits right in with the fabric of what we do here at Gravity in Action.
Totally
awesome.
agreed.
Exactly. Now, if we go further back to about 1.5 years, 2 years, we have another toy that our colleague Dave Parisi from Connecticut has, and that's called the Inertia Wave. All right? So my explanation or description of an Inertia Wave is this is a battle rope meets a resistance band meets a body blade. So the principle of inertia is that force equals mass times acceleration. And when we apply force to some kind of object that has weight to it, the instantaneous moment that it changes direction, our body must brace and protect to provide stability before we can accept that violence, all right? So right now, the inertia wave is hanging like a wet noodle. If we stand back, and now we get into more of a tension mode, okay? Good? Okay.
Yeah.
Very good. All right. So now I'm playing tension on the inertia wave, and now I'm going to work with simple patterns such as holding at my heart, putting myself in an athletic position to brace, and then I'm going to accept the bounce. If you notice as the wave is going, there's a crest and there's a trough, and in that instantaneous change of direction from crest to trough, there's tension being placed upon my trunk, and I have to brace and protect. Now that is a linear motion. If I want to get a little bit more fancy, then I'm going to come towards you, towards the camera, and now I'm working in that frontal plane of motion with the band, and now I'm getting some slight rotation, and I'm having to stabilize that. Now if I combine the linear and the side to side, we get a circle, clockwise or counter, and now we're asking the band to move transversely, and now I'm getting, once again, more bracing required for my trunk. Now I can feel my heart rate coming up because I'm noticing some labor breathing as I'm talking to you. The beautiful thing is with the inertia wave, I'm now going to truly spike up my heart rate by providing more violence and explosion to the inertia wave. So now my goal is to purposely hit the floor to then get more action here.
And as he's doing that, you can tell his breathing is increasing very rapidly. And with the other two forms of exercise we were talking about before, right? We were talking about the rope and the stability ball. Those were more dynamic in movement, right? This comes down to stability. But all three of them have to do with the core driving the movement or resisting the movement. So that ability, like we always say, to create force comes from the ability to resist it. So two of them were creating force, and this one is more so on the stability side, resisting the force of the inertia wave.
Awesome. I'm going to show a couple more simple samples of things we can do with the inertia wave from simple to complex. And we'll talk about, once again, the theme of today's show is getting back to what we're learning, we're also teaching back.
Yeah.
All right? So I'm going to show you a sideways view. Okay, so now I'm working in a double punch aspect, trying to really hit that camera right now. I'm trying really close. And then we can also get fancy where I'm going to take one arm and dominate the motion with an alternating lunge pattern. So every time I lift my foot off the ground, I'm changing my base of support, and now my core is working a little harder, and I've got one arm trying to do the job here. Okay, so those are some simple ideas of how we can not only stimulate the trunk, but also increase the need for the brain with having to work with that complex movement.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are not used to just the stability needed for that.
That's right.
And a lot of them can't figure out the rhythm that their body has to move in order to get this to stay very concrete and basically get the most out of the exercise, right? Because a lot of people just haven't experienced that. And I always say you've never experienced what you haven't experienced. It's very simple, but
You only know what you know.
Absolutely.
Right. So we have more people coming in to tell us what they know. Guess what? We begin to know more.
Yep.
I like to say that we don't know much, but we've learned a ton.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's the take-home theme for today. To teach is to learn. And we're grateful for all of our colleagues who keep coming in and visiting us here at the Go House to teach us. That way we can add it to our own soup and style of fitness. And as always, guys, if you have any questions and intrigued with the toys, we'd love to hear from you guys. And we have a big week, right? 6th anniversary.
Big week. You better be here.
That's
It's
right.
going to be fun.
Thursday night, 6th anniversary party here. Thank you all for watching this latest edition of
Turf Talk Tuesday.
That's right. Boom. Thanks, guys.
Adios.